Incoming audio transmission. Something's happening, Tenno.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Warframe Digest, episode 14. Today we'll be talking about Devstream 32 and all of its relative topics in a moment's notice. So, what did they cover during this 4th of July special for Americans? For non-Americans, it was just the 4th of July. Well, they talked about the difficulty of the game. Difficulty of the game in what aspect, may you ask? Well, as we saw in the Breeding Grounds, the difficulty of the game pretty much scaled to our frequent running of the level, and it got harder, harder, and harder, to the point that Enemie got a above 9,999 leveled Stalker image as shown. And pretty much that's ridiculous. How can we counteract this? Well, they'll allow us to actually set difficulties for the quests. War's Prize will be one of the few quests that we will be getting in Update 14, one of 4, that'll be coming up ahead in a moment's notice, and it will allow scaling difficulty settings. There'll be the normal difficulty, then hard, and expert, or whatever. We don't know exactly what they are, but they'll allow difficulty scalings according to player demands. So we can rerun these quests and then do it harder, harder, and harder, depending on what the settings are, just to give us that challenge we so seek. On the note of quests, they will be giving us the opportunity for new players to have a starting quest that will actually introduce them to the game, to the mechanics, and to what to do with the game. Unlike some of us veterans, we seem to have stumbled around in the dark and found our direction and calling. Some of us are collectors, some of us are hoarders, some of us just like to kill things. Well, the starter quest will actually allow new players to pretty much pick their starting warframes and their starting gear. No exact details were given on what the starting gear will be, but we know that it will pretty much be a variance of some weapons and some mods to give you a jumpstart into that playstyle. Along with that, they confirmed that Update 14 will come with 3 quest lines: War's Prize, the Kubero quest, and a secret quest that was pretty much hinted at last second. No idea what that's gonna be, but I don't know. Let's see what happens. So, on that note of secret things in development, whatever happened to that Corpus Freeze raid, Dark, that we saw like 3 Devstreams ago? I don't know when it kind of disappeared. Well, it's right here. The Corpus Freeze raid has been in development. It is pretty much far along its dev cycle, and we can see here some in-game models, and it looks pretty. Along with the in-game models, they also showed us an animation still to show what parts are going to be moving and extending as you fire the weapon. It seems that the barrel will be extended along continuous fire, and the battery core will actually be cycling as it generates the cold fusion. And they also showed us an animation still, pretty much where the things are going to be animated and reloaded. And another thing that seems to be far along its dev cycle is the ships. They showed us a couple more things about the player ships and some interesting details for intended features. These features will not be available initially at Update 14, but they are intended to be implemented later in Update 14 for us to enjoy and us to actually experiment with. Maybe this may be the reason for the delay. Maybe this is another thing they're doing alongside the delay. Who's to say? But it's interesting to see that we will be allowed to actually color code and customize our ships. We'll be actually given tinting possibilities to actually tint the exterior of our ship and make it more personalized to our preference and our playstyle. Along with the interior of the ship, they talked about some possibilities of allowing little decorations to go here and there on the ship. The ship is very compact and small, so we will not be allowed the freedom of the dojo, but things are coming along quite well. They also showed us the exterior of the map, or the exterior of space, that will be dependent on the map we've been playing in. So if we've been playing on Saturn, we'll see Saturn in the background once we leave a mission or if we stay within the region. Same goes for Earth, Mercury, Venus, Mars, so on and so forth. it's very nice to give you this sense of ambience, this sense of presence that you are in these areas for real, instead of just constantly going back to a solar map and seeing like, oh look, all planets. On the note of, oh look at that, they also showed us the new drop animations. Pretty much, you know, the mantis, pretty much how it's been dropping us off and just flying in and we just fall from the sky. Yeah, that's kind of changing. They showed us the new Lisette, which is replacing the mantis, and how the new animation for that will work. It looks pretty interesting. It seems a lot more detailed and a lot more organic instead of just flying in from the outside of the ship at all times. Amazing when they didn't fall off during entry. And they also showed us what seems to be referred to as the home base, or the carrier. I don't know what to make of this, but this is what will be connecting to the Lisette upon re-entering atmosphere. Basically, this will be where we will do everything. I assume this is where the arsenal is, I assume this is where the Kubro is when not taking on missions. I assume this is where the Foundry, and this is where the solar map... No, the solar map is on the Lisette, but every other accessory and functional thing that we do outside of missions will be. No exact details were given what we will be doing in this carrier, but it will connect to the Lisette upon exiting missions and upon entering orbit again. While on the notes of those foundries and market things, where's Darvo? We haven't seen him for quite a while, and a lot of people are saying, where is that rambunctious rascal with issues with his father that made things very awkward during that one mission? Well, he's somewhere. That's all they really told us. He's returning somewhere, and they follow that up by he will be involved in the first quest. I don't know how to distinguish that, if it's in Vor's Prize, or he has to do something with the Kubro quest, or maybe he has to do something with that secret quest that we don't know anything about. Interesting. And speaking of interest, wow, these transitions are being very weird and repetitive, but speaking of interesting details, they talked about the community weapons again. They talked about the Sword and Board, still making progress for U14, and they showed off the second place winner of the community contest from the previous 5 weapons. The second place winner was the Tonfa, or the Tanfa. Pronunciation may vary. The Tonfas pretty much have been showed in this still image and in 5 different angles. Pretty much showing off different details and how thin these weapons will be. They also showed off the handles, and they told us that this will be a dual-wielded melee weapon. It's very interesting to see these Tonfas in the game. I am so giddy. Throws me back to the days I used to play Soul Calibur every day. They also showed off the original community concept for the animations that are intended, and they also showed off the in-game lighting. These beautiful weapons seem to be well along their dev cycles, and they still seem to be requiring some rigging and some details. No idea when these weapons are going to be coming out, but they seem to be rather soon, so they may come out in Update 14 as well. Who's to say? It's all speculation still. One thing that will not be speculation is there will be no more taxiing service. For you players that don't understand what taxiing is pretty much someone that has joined the game brand new, has no access to some of the later planets, and we decide, hey, you want that Warframe? Let us take you there, farm up the boss, and then you can unlock all the adjacent nodes because you have unlocked that node. That will no longer be possible in the game post 14 because they will be limiting unlocks to personal unlocks down the chain and the nodes. So carrying to a specific node far down the chain will no longer unlock that region for that player anymore. So if you need taxiing to be done now, might as well get it out of the way before it's too late. I don't encourage it, I don't discourage it, but people will be people, and whatever. And talking about features that'll get there when they get there, they talked about the second part of the endgame, the endgame discussion we had a while back, the second portion being the focus system. No exact details were given, except that focus will be introduced post U14. It is still in the works, it is still in progress, and it is intended to come in Update 14. My personal opinion is it may come out in 14.5. That seems to be the pattern, but my patterns seem to have been wrong with this one, but blah 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 blah. Moving on. So expect focus to be coming in Update 14 at some point, and that's going to be a very interesting thing. Don't know what focus is? Come back to my previous endgame discussion video on focus and get all the details there. So, that pretty much does it for today's Warframe Digest. But there's still one last thing to show you. Enjoy this following footage, because it was presented at the end of the Devstream, and I don't know what to make of it. So let's see what everyone makes of it on their own. So, have fun, take it easy, and see you guys in game.
We tire of failure. Who put their faith in you, Admiral?
You did. I have a life debt.
To be paid eternal blood.
I understand.
Do not awaken the fighters. Do not study them. Crush these eggs before they hatch. This we command.
My wings was a key.
Take the rail to Pluto. For all is